I once finished a program that promised to change my life. I did every exercise. I showed up for every session, highlighted whole paragraphs and key sentences in the program handout. I said the affirmations in the mirror like my life depended on it, because at that time, it felt like my life absolutely depended on getting that program right and fixing myself. And when it was over, I sat there and I tried to figure it out. I tried to figure this equation out. The program must work. The testimonials are there to prove it. All those glowingly beautiful people whose lives had been transformed. The method was sound, the results were real, and I was still me, still struggling, still in the same place, still stuck. It was all very clear. The problem had to be me. That was the equation. The program works, I did the program, I did not change, therefore I am the problem. It took me years to see that the equation I was working with was wrong. Not my effort, the equation. And today I want to talk about that equation because I think a lot of us are doing it in the dark, alone, and coming to the same conclusion about ourselves. And I also want to tell you who I am, who I'm not, and what you can count on me for in this space. Beautiful people, welcome to the Lulu Essey podcast, where we build mental fitness, self-worth, and self-love from the inside out. These conversations are honest, unedited, and always from the heart. Before we get into it, I have one ask. Please share this episode with someone who has been made to feel that their life is proof that they are a failure. Someone who has been carrying the painful conclusion that they are the problem. A share takes a few seconds, and it might be the first time someone hears that their equation can be calculated differently. So thank you. There's a really shouty conversation happening right now about this space and about who to trust, about what gets promised, about what gets sold with that promise. And underneath all of that noise and shoutiness, I see something that concerns me far more than the noise itself. A lot of people are feeling worse about themselves than ever before. They are measuring their lives against the promises and they're coming up short and deciding based on that they are the problem. It's simply who they are. So I'm not here today to talk about anyone else. I am here to tell you who I am, who I'm not, and what you can count on me for. And this is the whole episode. And I'm going to do it the only way I know how, by walking toward you, not by pointing at someone else. So who am I? I'm a woman who is sharing how I came to be where I am based on what I've lived. That's it. That is the offer. I bring you my life in plain language in case you are able to recognize pieces of your own life inside it. 30 years of living with bipolar, decades of building a career while my inner world was burning, while I was struggling with self-harm, the long, slow work of learning to be on my own team. I offer you what I've lived, and I trust you with it. And now to be clear about what I'm not a clinician or a mental health professional. I'm not giving advice. If you are working with a doctor or a therapist, that work comes first always. And what happens here walks alongside it. never in place of it. And I don't say this as an apology. I say it as a clear description of what this is, because everything I share here is mine, and what you do with it is yours. Take what fits, adapt it to your life, your history, your circumstances, if that feels meaningful and valuable, and leave the rest on the table. No hard feelings. Adapt, not adopt. You've heard me say it before, and today I want you to hear it as a promise. I never hand you my life as a template. I hand it to you as company. And if you've been here for a while, you know I say this often. You are not broken, and you do not need fixing. And I stand by that. But lately, I've been sitting with the question that comes after. Because if I'm not broken and I don't need fixing, then where am I? So here's my answer. You are whole and you are becoming. You're both at the same time. Whole and becoming. Because somewhere along the way, we got sold a false choice. Either you're broken and need the fix, or you're fine and need nothing. Just pick a lane. And that choice was never real. Whole and becoming are not opposites. You can be complete, lacking nothing, needing no rescue, and still be in motion. Still shifting, growing, still becoming. And notice the words I'm not using. I'm not saying things can be better, because better is again another measure, and I don't want to hand you a measure. I'm saying things could be different. Different carries no inherent judgment. It leaves space for your life to move without judging where your life has been. And this brings me to something I feel so strongly about. There's a message moving through the space that goes something like this. If your life is not where you want it to be, that is proof something is wrong with you. If you are struggling, you probably didn't want it enough. If you are not thriving and making oodles of cash while you're at it, you didn't do the work, or you did the wrong work, or you did the work wrong. And that message confuses blame and agency. They are not the same and they will never be the same. And we need to keep them separate. You are not to blame for where you are. You have been living a real life with real history, real circumstances, real chemistry, real losses, struggles, and you've had many things that were never in your control and were never your fault. And you are not powerless in where you go from here. You do have moves available to you. Sometimes those moves are really small. They could be tiny, but there are moves available. Both of those things are true at the same time. You are not to blame, and you're also not powerless. And the moment we get those two things mushed together, the moment someone tells you that your power over your future means that your past is your fault, something is very off. Your history deserves compassion. And your future, that deserves possibility. And you never have to trade the one to have the other. Now, some of what I'm about to say, I've said before on this show, and I'll say it again, because this work is not information you just collect once. It's a practice you return to. That's the heart of this season. The space between knowing the work and really living it And living it means returning to the same ground again and again and again, and finding that ground new each time because you're standing on it as a different person. So here's the ground. This work is not about never having a dark day. It's not about never having a negative thought, never feeling fear, never sitting in sadness. If anyone promises you a life without the dark, hold on to your wallet and your heart. This work is about holding the light and the dark at the same time. It's about being able to shift yourself even the smallest bit when the dark feels like it's consuming you. It's about knowing that that state is temporary. It's about allowing it rather than resisting it, because what we allow can move through us, and what we fight stays inside us. Last episode, I did not fight fear. I invited it in for a coffee. And I'm not fighting darkness in this episode either. You see, it's the same muscle, but it shows up as a different feeling. And there's something else I want to touch on, and I want to do my best to be really thoughtful about it. There's a lot of talk lately about the wounded healer, the idea that we teach best what we most need to learn. And there's a concern about people turning their pain into a pulpit. And here's where I stand on that. My wounds gave me a lens. They did not give me a license. My history does not qualify me to heal anyone. What it does do is change what I can see and how I see it. When you've walked through a specific landscape, you notice things. Small signs, the places where the ground gives way, the spots where the light gets through. So I'm not here to heal you. You don't need that. I'm describing the landscape I have walked. The walking is yours. It's always yours to do or not. And that is where your power lives. So what do I offer here? Week after week, I offer perspectives. I don't offer prescriptions. I offer you things to try on, to test against your own life, to keep if they work for you, and release if they don't. Nothing I share is rigid, and nothing about that makes it weak either. I like to think of this work as fluid, not flimsy. Water is fluid, and that same water can carve canyons. Water is unbelievably powerful. And you may have noticed that I never chose the word self-help for this show. I chose mental fitness. Because fitness means we get stronger with practice. So here's my promise to you. And this is what you can count on me for. I will tell you the truth about my own life, including the parts that are really not pretty to look at, and sometimes very uncomfortable to hear about. I'll never sell you a diagnosis of yourself. And I'll keep showing up here, whole and becoming, right alongside you, always becoming, always fluid, never flimsy. And my invitation to you is to adapt, not adopt anything you hear and find meaningful. Adapt, adapt. Don't adopt. Let's walk alongside each other. What comes from the heart reaches the heart. And today, like every other day, this comes straight from my heart to yours.